Hi guys, welcome to this episode. Let's talk more about Taoism and Qigong. Okay, first questions from William 4 days ago. Hi William. Can Tai Chi be used as waking to? Oh, it's from episode. Okay. Qigong then standing works. The sitting part while in pain class, they do meditation. What works too? Doing Qigong 8 year. Thanks for putting it into perspective. Never know. Okay, let me try to understand this question. Well, I remember. So it's basically on the episode that I was talking about how when you're doing sitting meditation, for example, you could be standing as well or moving. A lot of times, naturally, we close our eyes. And during the merging process, where you enter altered state of consciousness, that's the more modern popular term, is where you start the merging process, right? At first, you feel your body and you're relaxing. Your mind is going a million miles an hour. Eventually, you experience quietness and peace. If you keep sitting after a few months, you start getting extremely bored, and then the chatter will start again. Then, after that, if you keep sitting, the boredom goes away. You sit until the boredom becomes blissful and peaceful. And the blood is starting to go all the way down your stomach. You're starting to relax into the ground. You're feeling your skeleton lined up, and your muscles are relaxing. This is what usually people think meditation is a mental relaxation, mindfulness, and relaxation exercise, which reduces stress hormones and has enormous health benefits around the world. That's why meditation is so popular. But in reality, that type of meditation, classically speaking, is just a warm up. Because if you keep sitting deeper and deeper after that, what usually happens is you start to feel a burning sensation around here and the energy starts moving up. This usually takes people quite a few years, but if they have a background in standing and moving Qigong, this will only take a couple of months. So depending on if you have the standing and moving practices to go with sitting. Providing that you do, and the stuff starts going up, you start to open up this center. At this point, usually depending on the person, they might start having resurface of repressed memory and also childhood trauma. That could take a long time to deal with and release out of your field. That's what we mean by emotional healing. Instead of just relaxing to feel better momentarily, right? Once you go through that process where you start merging up, a lot of meditators will start seeing lights and then they start getting a huge serotonin and endorphin rush. They start feeling euphoric, a lot of bliss, a lot of inner peace. And then as they merge even farther, the body disappear. Well documented as meditation effects by a lot of universities, and that is your mirror neurons and your spatial awareness and your nervous system turn off, and you stop feeling your body, or you feel your body as though it is transparent, which is very similar to what people report when they smoke a lot of marijuana, or if they are in flow tank therapy, for example, or mushrooms. So it happens a lot, not just in Qigong, right? At the time that your body drops off and you start not feeling your body, slowly you start feeling your mind or your consciousness or your self image or your personality as like a bubble, like a field, what people call an aura, right? Usually at that point, that's usually about 3 years in. 3 years into sitting, usually when you start feeling your aura, it kind of blows your mind because before that it's just a theory, intellectual speculation, a belief or a disbelief. But with the first time you feel it, it's really hard to disbelieve it now because it's pretty tangible, right? Once you actually experience it, if you keep sitting, eventually it dissolves. That's when the merging process happened that Buddhism, Hinduism, and Taoism talk about, and also Christian mystics. At that point, your eyes are, of course, closed. You will experience, well, I can't really talk about what you experience because then it become BS. But for those who have experienced it, that unity, that bliss, that peace, that presence is indescribable, right? But you can't stay up there forever because you have to come back down sometimes because you got to go to work, you got to go to the bank, you got to go shopping, you got to pick up your kids, whatever. So you have to live your life. So when you come back down, obviously your eyes are open. You're back to normal consciousness, right? In the last episode, or a few episodes back, I talked about how when you're merging up there, you're 100% in the energy consciousness, the energy behind form. This energy is called many things. In quantum physics, they call it a zero-point energy or unknown energy or dark energy. In Taoism, they call it the Tao, the source, the One Qi, the Wu Qi. In Hinduism, they call it Brahman. In Buddhism, they call it emptiness or Buddha nature. In a lot of traditions, they call it the Great Spirit. Whatever you want to call it is the energy behind matter. Right. So when you're in that space, you're 100% there and 0% in form. Like this table, this couch, my body. That's why you lose your body, right? So you're 100% in that space. When you return to form to go to work, to make a cup of coffee or to drive a car, whatever, for most humans, they're 100% in the form consciousness, right? But when you practice properly, you can use walking meditation, because the nature of walking is your eyes is open. You can use walking meditation to retain what you got in sitting, even in normal daily life. So your eyes are open, and now you're 50-50. 50% you can feel form, 50% you can still feel the stuff in meditation. So that's what I talked about a few episodes back. For those that are interested, you can go watch the playlist so I don't have to go over the whole thing. So walking meditation is really good for that. Whatever you attain in sitting meditation, you can actually maintain 50% of it in daily life, which is saying a lot, because most people is 100% in the form realm and 0% in the energy, light, or whatever consciousness state you want to call it. So that 50% is crazy good, especially nowadays where people are suffering from so much anxiety and depression, right? So you're asking, can Tai Chi do the same thing? Can it be a moving meditation with your eyes open that you can maintain what you got in sitting meditation? Because that's what that question is referring to, that episode. The answer is yes. Tai Chi can do that. But walking meditation, or Bagua walking meditation, is different in Tai Chi in one sense. And that is, before Bagua was a martial art, long before it was a martial art, thousands of years ago, Taoists used circle walking as a way to maintain the energy state when their eyes are open, like I talk about. Tai Chi can do the same thing. The difference is when you're walking, there's a circle, right? And the ancient name for Bagua walking wasn't the modern term Bagua walking. It used to be called worshiping the heavens. And the reason why is, while you're walking, of course, you're turning stuff on, you're feeling in the horizontal plane because you're walking in a circle. You're also aware of the vertical plane going downward, rooting into the ground. But the most important one is the first trigram of projecting up into the sky. That's why you're walking in a circle, to create that vortex. When you're doing that, you're worshiping the heaven. Why is this important as compared to Tai Chi moving meditation to maintain that stillness and inner peace? It's because it goes beyond stillness and inner peace. When you're worshiping the heaven, you're projecting up, the merging process starts to happen even when your eyes are open. That's the reason why. This will never happen, no matter how much you walk the circle, if you never did the sitting meditation before, to the point of merging that I just talked about before. Because if you haven't attained it in sitting, there's nothing for you to maintain while you're walking. You must develop something before you can keep it. That's why the sitting, the standing, the lying down, and the walking is originally one holistic practice that a lot of modern teachers tend to ignore. But you can't inject one thing into the other if you don't do it all. That's probably the most important thing. And to me, this is kind of like the essence of practice, right? Because you can go enter altered state of consciousness in deep prayer or DMT, psychedelics, or other shamanistic practice, or for us in sitting meditation, or in Zen Buddhism, same thing, sitting meditation. So through breathwork meditation, shamanistic practice, psychedelics, deep prayer, dance, humans have entered altered state of consciousness. Sure, but what good is that? What good is entering those blissful healing states if you can't keep it in daily life? That is why the idea of using Tai Chi or walking meditation in Taoism to maintain that state is vitally important, especially in today's society where so many people are suffering from emotional pain. Because what good is it to be happy when you're meditating and then miserable again once you stop? You got to get off the cushion sometimes, right? So that's something that people should consider. Anyways, that's all the time we got for today. See you guys next time. Leave your message below. For those that are interested in training in these methods, please follow the link below in the description. See you next time.